Introduce me. I am from Delhi and basically from Punjab. So I shifted to Delhi long time back. Worked in different hospitals, private as well as government hospital. I was in Ramnoor Lohiya Hospital, which is a government hospital right near to Parliament. So worked there for some time, and after that I joined private as a in administration. And I was a medical superintendent in Jaipur Golden Hospital, which is in north west Delhi. So worked there for some time. Mainly I was active in DMA, Delhi Medical Association, Indian Medical Association's state branch of Delhi. So I was elected vice president over there. So worked there in different projects as well, government projects, because in India, immunization is a continuing process. So I was working in those projects and initiated by Government of Delhi, Government of India, a lot of other projects. I also worked with Doctors Without Borders also. So I had been to Germany, Holland, and then there was a project, malaria project in Assam. So I stayed there and worked there because there are a lot of casualties among the kids as far as malaria is concerned. So ultimately planned to shift here along with the family. And I was in California, did my master's from there, California State University, then went to Canada, and now back to Orlando because I got my green card here. So just 1 month ago, I joined this Hindu University in integrative medicine. Fortunately, they are starting it, and they started it, and I have joined it. So as far as, because I worked in public health in other areas and other projects, so I had a lot of opportunities to meet with people and see the treatment line of treatment which they were following. So ultimately developed interest in different areas. So my understanding of integrative medicine, which I imbibed throughout my experience, was that it's basically the integrative medicine is the pinnacle of human treatment. It's the total treatment. It's the treatment where spirituality meets science, where your lot of modern medicine, modern medical problems, meet the ancient solutions, where mental stress meets meditation, where your physiotherapy meets yoga, where your nutrition meets your natural pure diet, and above all, where modern medicine with all its advancements, all its latest advancements, meets and greets Mother Nature in its pristine beauty. So I won't take much time because among us is the expert. So I would like to hand it over, and I would just introduce Dr. Indranil Basu Ray. He's MBBS, MD, and DNB in cardiology. So he'll be giving us today, the topic is science behind meditation based on Hindu philosophy. So this has been organized by Center for Integrative Medicine, Hindu University of America, in collaboration with Sanatan Mandir, Tampa. So Dr. Indranil Basu, he's a cardiologist and interventional electrophysiologist, cardiologist at Jack Stephens Heart and Vascular Institute, St. Vincent's Infirmary, Heart Clinic, Little Rock, Arkansas. Professor of Integrative Medicine, Hindu University of America, College of Complementary and Alternative Medicine, Professor of Medicine and Cardiology, SYASA, Bangalore, India. And he is President of American Academy for Yoga and Meditation in Medicine. So now I will request Dr. Basu now to take it over and give us his precious talk on this meditation based on Hindu philosophy. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Namaskar. How long do we have? Kitna time?
To 8 o'clock.
Sir, time?
Till 8 o'clock?
There is आरती है.
Okay. तो आज का मेरा जो टॉक है not very much related with integrative medicine. I'd like to give you guys understanding of ancient Hindu philosophy which existed 10,000 years back in the light of modern science. A lot of us believe that my father used to do puja, so I do puja. So I was called to give a talk at the University of Toronto. So we had 126 Hindu kids there, between 12 years to 24 years. 9 out of 10 told me they do it because they saw their mother and their father doing puja at home. I think we live in a country which believes in science, but the tragedy is we believed in science since eternity. Till the death of Galileo, this country didn't believe in science. Church was going on one side, science was going on the other side. 180 degrees to each other. And today, we go around saying, people, I am doing this because my father does this. It is like saying, the father of the universe has one son and he wants me to do this, so I am doing this. The problem is the father of the universe, he does have son. All of us are his sons. He just cannot have one single son. And all of us will reach that stage, whether the stage is called Jesus Christ, whether it is called Buddha. Well, that's what Buddha said, that it is a royal path. All of us has to walk through the path. There is no favoritism, there is no partiality. It doesn't matter how many times you go to the temple or how many times you go to the church. So today I'll give you some basic thoughts. Obviously we don't have much time. As to how in the last 30 years, a 10,000 years old philosophy, or maybe even more than that, because nobody knows when Patanjali actually existed. Modern science says he existed 3,600 years back, which I don't believe, but anyway. How many of you know of Patanjali? How does he look? Anybody seen Patanjali's Murti? So the original Patanjali Murti has got 7 snake head as a human body. Did you guys know this? Let me tell you an incident, okay? There was a small boy. When he was 7 years of age, he decided that he is going to be a sannyasi. So he left his home. He told his father. Father said, there's nothing I can do. If you don't want to do anything, you want to be a sannyasi. So at that time, this is 1824, yeah. So there was a big, quite a famous in Varanasi, Benares, called Lahiri Baba. I don't know if you guys heard about it. And there was another guy who was crazy. He weighed 300 pounds. Sometimes he had a lion around his back, sometimes he'll be naked. And he was called the walking Shiva. Do you guys know who he is? I'll tell you. He is called the walking Shiva. Ramakrishna saw him and said, this man is a walking Shiva. Anyway, so this guy goes to Lahiri Baba and says that I want to be sannyasi. So Lahiri Baba takes him to his guru, who's named by the name Babaji, in the deep Himalaya, and gives him to Babaji. So this young boy goes and walks all over the Himalaya, gets training in Kriya Yoga, meditation practice. There are 6 or 7 levels of Kriya Yoga. And then like one of the 3rd or 4th level is something called Thokar Kriya, where, and we have reference of Thokar Kriya many times in our philosophy, because Shankaracharya did the same thing. When he met Saraswati, and Saraswati said that you are not married, you never had sex, how can you be God? You don't even know one side of life. So what he did, as you guys know history, he came out of his physical body and he took the body of a dead king. So that is a practice called Thokkar Kriya, where you can come out of your physical body and be for some time. Obviously it needs many years of practice. So this guy, when he's like 14 years of age, he lands up in a small place, a small cave, high up in the Himalayas near where Alakananda starts, which is way up the Gangotri, where Alokananda starts. And there Alokananda is like, I think it goes at like 300 or 400 knots per minute. Means if you fall in that river and if you lose your feet, you'll not die, you'll be atomized. It's so fast. So he sits there. One day a Sufi saint comes to him, looks like a Sufi. The guy has got, the Sufi, those who do, they put that henna in their head, even males, they put henna in their head. So this guy is deep in meditation, and that so-called Sufi guy wearing green clothes comes with big beard, all red because of henna and long hairs, all henna, and comes, and this guy is in deep meditation. He suddenly awakened from meditation because that guy starts kissing him and said, "You are my God." So he said, "Are you mad? I mean, who are you? Why are you doing this to me? I am just a sannyasi. I just got freedom from my guru. Now I have to practice." So he said, "No, my guru just died on the foothills of Himalaya, so I came up to you." Because he said there's a young boy, 16 years old, 3,000 to 4,000 feet above in the Himalayas. He's sitting there, and so you are that image that he gave me. So you're my guru. So he said, no. So, but he said, "Okay, if you don't accept me, I'm going to jump from here and die." So he says, "You do whatever you feel like, because I cannot take anybody as a guru, as a shishya, because I am not even trained to be a guru. Till now I was going with a guru and I just started my own meditation." So he said, "Okay, this is my last request to you. If you don't do it, I'm going to jump from this place." So obviously he came out and he jumped from that place. So he got up because that man kissed him all over the body. In India, nobody, I mean, you don't do that. Even in this country, you don't do that. But the Sufi, you got to understand that. The Sufism has got a lot of things very close to Hinduism, So you're in love with God. So that kissing means you're kissing the God himself. Like the bhakti we have in our Hinduism too. So this guy comes and says, "This stupid man, God knows where he came from, made my whole body dirty. Now I have to go and take a bath." So he comes down and takes a dip in Alokananda, which is I think almost half ice at that time, 4 degrees, 3 degrees, 2 degrees centigrade, like what Vivekananda did. Took a bath early morning at 4 o'clock in that ice water. And he just gets up, talks some mantras to purify himself. As he does that, he finds a light coming. And the light comes and coalesces to form the body of Babaji. So Babaji tells him that, "How can it be that I created you, that your heart is so hard as a rock, that you killed somebody just because you wanted to be your disciple?" Then he understood what the problem was. So he fell at the feet of Babaji. So Babaji said, "I'm going to give you, you're going to take a birth again." And Babaji gave him some directions. So you guys might think, okay, so how did Babaji decide their birth? So according to Gyaronda Upanishad, when the baby is around 6-7 months, that time the soul enters. And the soul entering the body depends not on which soul enters which body, but because it depends on the sexual union. For example, it is said that there are a lot of high-grade sannyasi who may not take birth for many years because they don't have that sort of a sexual union that will produce the energy for them to enter that body. Now, why am I talking all this? The reason I'm talking all this is, so this is something coming from our philosophy. Now, when I talk about science, you will see in the last 20, 30 years, what we think is science, metaphysics, has actually transformed into science. Let me give you an example. When Vivekananda was in London, he was given a poetry book which had 500 stanzas. Everybody knows Vivekananda? Anybody here? The kids may not know because they are born, brought up here, I guess. So, when Swami Vivekananda, do you know, brother, who Swami Vivekananda is? No, no worries. I also didn't know when I was a kid, so don't worry about it. So, 500 stanza he read. And then 10 people sat and started asking him questions. He could say each and every stanza. In the 2000 years that we have medicine, we don't have a single drug that can increase your memory even twice, leave alone half of the time. This is a country where, tragically, 15 to 20% of people above 80 years of age languish in nursing home because they have something called Alzheimer's disease. Leave alone their own name, they don't know their son, their wife, their daughters, anybody's name, they don't even know their own name. So, so-called magic or these ideas that come from our philosophy, so are they lies? Let's take the case of Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya at that time went near Vijayanagaram. So the Prime Minister of Vijayanagaram at that time, he wrote a big book. So at that time there was no book, they used to write in paper. So he recited that to Shankaracharya. 5 years later, there was a big fire. The entire Vijayanagaram library where these things used to be kept, people didn't have pages. It was written in leaflet and leaves were kept in the royal library. Everything got burnt. So almost 7 years later, he heard Shankaracharya is coming. So he went to see Shankaracharya. He didn't even talk. Shankaracharya said, okay, sit down and write. I'll tell you what you told me 7 years back, and he told everything. So what do you think? These are all stories or these are real? What do you think?
Real.
It's real?
I have no idea.
Anybody else? Anybody wants to be the devil's advocate and say this is all lies? I love that guy. See, he's a brave guy. See, we need that bravery. So in 2010, till 1999, we thought the brain doesn't divide. There is, once your brain is created, after you're like 25, 26, your brain doesn't create new cells. But Peter Gage showed us from Salk Institute in late 90s, early 2000 that actually some cells deep inside the brain grows. But in 2010, there was a miraculous discovery. A lady called Sarah Laser. She was my, for a short period of time, I worked at Mass General also. So she was in charge of neuropsychiatry at Mass General. She for the first time showed, and after that there are tons of, if you practice meditation for 5 years, your cerebral cortex can grow up to 1.5 centimeters. That was the first scientific proof that days where there is no there are 2 medications for Alzheimer's disease, they don't even work. They're as good as placebo. You know what placebo is, right? You tell the person that I'm giving you medication, whatever effect that has. Whether you're really giving him medicine or you're giving him maida or God knows what, or maybe some sugar pill, God only knows. It doesn't work. We have a dean of pharmacy sitting there. So all these so-called stories that has been come, now we are slowly finding that a lot of them has been true. So this is only the cerebral cortex, the memory centers. Because brain is is like a computer. Whatever you see, whatever you think, you have to correlate only then. There are areas of the brain above the ear called area 41, 42. That's your hard disk. Your eyes does not see. Your area 18, 19 in your back sees. But what will your 18, 19 see? Because I cannot see. 18, 19 will only see what 41, 42 has. And then compare and say, okay, I'm sitting in the mandir and there are people sitting. There's a pujari ji sitting there. It's all related. You can have Vivekananda or Jesus Christ standing out here, but I can't see. How many of you think they can be standing out here? Good. You see, this man is a scientific guy. Why do you think that is possible? See, what Hindu philosophy has been telling forever, we have misconstrued it under the garb of understanding science. How? So, my capacity to see is in a very small wavelength, 300 to 372 wavelength. It's a very small wavelength. The wavelength goes from that wall to that wall. You have cosmic rays on the other side and you have infrared rays on this side. There are hundreds and thousands of hertz. So if somebody was standing here at a higher frequency, you will not see him. If there's a whole world next to you, you won't see him. And that's what the modern science says.
Is there a
That's
different dimension?
No, you don't have to be same dimension. This dimension itself, but in a higher hertz, higher frequency. Dimension, obviously, when you say a complete dimension, complete time gap, then you will not see. That is different. But even in the same dimension, if they are at, because see, you're like a dog. Why is a dog good for preventing thief to come at night? Because dog can hear from 0 to 20,000 hertz. You and I can hear from 20,000 hertz. So a dog can hear sounds much less than what you and I can. And a dog is much lower in the hierarchy than us. Think of something even lower in our hierarchy, like a whale. A male whale can talk with a female whale 6,000 miles apart from two ends of the earth using subsonic frequency, 1 hertz. So imagine what we can do, because we are much higher in the hierarchy. There's a very good story about Ved Vyas. So this man was sitting and doing some sort of a puja. So everybody he's doing, Ved Vyas doing puja means like all the gods, Asuras, everybody standing there, ki pata nahi kya kar lega ye. But nobody has the guts to ask him, what are you doing? So he goes on doing puja, everybody is bored but just sitting. Nobody has the guts to even disturb him or talk with him or ask him. Anyway, when he finished, somebody almost walked up to him and said, almost bending his arm, bending his leg, bending everything, almost getting to the ground and said, can you tell me, sir, what were you? So he was saying, well, I was praying those cells in my body. First I'll tell you the story, then I'll tell you the scientific version of it. That can say if it rains or not. So he said, why are you praying that? So he said that we humans have forgotten ourselves, have forgotten our powers, have forgotten the limitless eternity that we live in, and have started thinking us as mere individuals. We are God ourselves. So I'm just trying to find that one piece of godliness in me. Now let's talk about the science. Any idea what he was talking about? So our skin has something called osmoreceptors, which can say how much humidity is there in the air. But if you look at my whole body, there may be 1 or 2 or not even that, because we don't use it. But if you look at a toad, take the skin of a toad, there are millions of osmoreceptors in a small place. So toad starts croaking whenever it's going to rain, the humidity increases. So think where the toad is and where you are. The problem, that's what he's trying to say. So this is how ancient philosophy tries to give you science, because If Ved Vyas has talked in terms of osmoreceptors, then nobody in that crowd would have understood. But today in science we understand what it means. So all this power is hidden in us, as Vivekananda said. That you want to do something, let every blood cell of your body know you will achieve it. Even if Narayan wants, he can't stop you. That is the power of the human being. So meditation is a process by which you re-find yourself in the right place. You want to hear Lata Mangeshkar. How many of you heard of Lata Mangeshkar? I guess most of you have. Yeah, right. So would you go to a radio station in New Orleans or would you go to Vivid Bharati? You go to Vivid Bharati, right? You will not go to New Orleans. If you want to hear jazz, you will go to New Orleans. You will not come to Tampa, right? So, 19 or a couple of years before his death, actually, it's I think 1889, if I'm not mistaken, his last trip to London, Vivekananda said, the whole universe is connected. Every part of the universe knows what you are doing, and you know what the rest of the universe is doing. So obviously we had some super intellectual people, including some great Indians, who think they know everything in the universe. They thought this gadha, pata nahi kahan se aa gaya, this religious guy, he must be talking some nonsense. In 1959, de Broglie came with the law of non-local connection, which means an electron in your body knows what an electron in the sun is doing. You may not know. An electron at the other end of the universe knows what you are doing. The whole universe is actually connected. Yes, my dear.
Some time ago, my dad, he saw on the news and it said something about how if one molecule was tweaked in one area, if that same twin of that molecule was put in a different area, that tweak would occur to that twin.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Is it your son? He's super intelligent. Do you guys know what he's talking about? So, quantum physics, which changed our thinking of science. So Einstein said the fastest thing in the universe is light. You cannot go faster than light. But the quantum theorists don't believe in it. So what he is saying, his father is here? No. As a kid like this, I'm really enthralled. So they did a famous experiment, and this experiment was repeated multiple times. It's called Einstein's Podolsky-Rosen's experiment, EPR experiment. Instead of molecule, what he is saying, they took two electrons. Electrons, those who know science, we studied in class 11, 12, they go in pairs. So if you change the one pair, like give it a twist, the other pair will automatically twist the same angle. So if you change the rotation of one A by whatever, x, the other one will twist also to other x but in the opposite sense. So in this experiment they kept one on Earth, one they took to Moon. And as he was saying, when they changed the rotation of this, the rotation of the others changed also. So what's so great in that? We knew it will happen. But there's a fallacy. What is the fallacy? The fallacy is, Einstein said the fastest thing in the universe is light. So if these two electrons communicate with each other at the speed of light, there should be at least 8 seconds delay between you twisting this electron and the other electron getting automatically twisted. But this experiment in multiple forms was done 1,000,000 times. They did it at the same time. Way back in 1898, what Vivekananda said, that the whole universe is, that time there was nobody even understood what electron, proton, neutron is. He said every particle of your body knows what the other particle of the universe is doing. Every particle of the universe knows what the other part of the body is doing. So coming back to my older year, I'm proud that we are having kids like this. It is time that we teach a new generation that I don't do puja because my father did puja. I don't do puja because there is a God and he has one son and I have to keep that son happy to live in this world. No. We are much more democratic. And you'll be happy to know some of the topmost, if you ask me name 10 Hindus, the 10 names that I'll say they're all American names. Because they're all nuclear physicists, some doctors, they are more Hindu than what we are, though they're officially not converted to any Hinduism. They're officially still Christians. Because they believe in Hinduism, the science behind Hinduism, the democracy behind Hinduism, the thought process behind Hinduism, than what you and I do in our day-to-day life being Hindus. I think we will stop and we'll keep for some questions because this discussion will go on forever. But before that, I just wanted to point this out to you is, so we take regular births. Whether you like it or you don't like it, you take regular births till you attain that energy when you stop taking birth in this world. When you attain enough energy that this rebirth in this world stops. Meditation is a process that fastens that. Hindu philosophy believes there is no God and there is no Son, because I am more than happy, I actually believe in Jesus Christ, to be very honest with you. But my problem is, if I believe in Jesus Christ, and then I say he has a father, then my question was, who's the father of the father? My philosophy stops there. Hindu philosophy says, there is no father, there is no mother. The whole universe is one. The beginning is same, the end is same. In between there are different processes which takes you from one part to the other, but the beginning and the same. Because the moment you say he is my father and he is the God's child, then the question comes, who's the father's father? And that's where your philosophy stops. So being part of such a powerful philosophy, if we don't use it, my guru used to say, 1 ton of theory equals 2 minutes of practice. You practice meditation for 2 minutes. You concentrate for 2 minutes. There are different types of meditation. You can do mantra meditation. You can meditate on the different chakras, different nadis. There are a lot of things. I don't want to even go into that today. We don't have time. Once we have time, we can talk about these things. But the fact is that if we create a new generation completely bereft of our philosophy, and our philosophy does not mean a philosophy that is blind, that is dead. It is a tragedy that a philosophy that started with Jesus Christ is almost nearing death, and a philosophy that started 10,000 years back is still young. And the only thing that differentiates is questioning. Why should I pray? Why should I meditate? What does it do to my brain? And so Buddha says clearly that I cannot show you any path, because I went to the same path that you have to go. So go to the path and see it.